Oh, you're back. Hey, it's Josh, Happy Little Landscapes. Today we did a 16 by 20 inch canvas, used about 8 colors, about 5 tools, kind of painted this Utah scene with a highway like we're kind of turning down, going into a canyon. So if you want to paint a painting like this, get your stuff out, get ready, but first, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe. The more subscribers I get, the more videos I'll be able to bring you guys. So, like I said, let's get rocking and rolling and show you how to do this. Today we have Sap Green, Dark Sienna, Alizarin Crimson, Prussian Blue, Midnight Black, Titanium White, Yellow Ochre, and Indian Yellow. Might not use them all, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to make this up as we go along, see if we can't paint like a road through the forest or the countryside. Or we'll kind of figure it out. We'll figure it out as we go. You guys have already seen it. I haven't seen it yet, but we're going to look at it together and we're going to figure out how to paint it. So in the meantime, why don't we grab our Bob Ross 2-inch brush. Don't know all the tools that we're going to be using today. We'll just kind of figure it out as we go along. So let's first go into our Prussian Blue, just on the corner like we like to do. Not a whole lot of paint, right? It's going to start to blend. We covered our canvas with Bob Ross liquid white, right? Just a little touch, littlest touch of it, right? All you want to do is be able to see the ridges of your fingerprint, right, through it. You don't want it to be too thick. You don't want it to be too thin. We're going to come up here, we're just going to start making our X shapes, and then once we do the top of our canvas, we're just going to lock it down. Remember, what do we always say? Finish the sides. Always say that. Always finish the edges. Because even though, I frame almost every one of my paintings, at least I offer frames for them on my Etsy shop, you never know if people are going to buy it framed or not. And if they don't buy it framed, then we're going to want to have the edges finished so they can, it doesn't look like an unfinished piece. Okay, so we're going to go in the blue, maybe leave a little bit of white in here. We'll do some clouds. A little bit more blue. We go right into the Midnight Black. Okay, we'll start up here. And then we'll go down here, just a nice stormy, dramatic sky like we always like to paint, right? Never just paint a blue sky, at least I don't anyway. It's always got to be some kind of depth and shadows and some kind of something. Again, we're leaving this middle bit mainly white, right? We're going to go over it a few times when we swipe and it might change a little bit of color, but for the most part, leave it white. Maybe do a little bit more black. You know how I like my skies, guys. You guys know how I like my skies. In the meantime, while we're doing this, take the time to subscribe. Down here, it's a big red button that says subscribe. You subscribe for free. Hit my little notifications bell up on the top and you'll be able to see when I post a new video and you won't miss a single one. You'll be able to just paint along all the time. All right, we're not really blending. Looks really messy. We're just kind of dropping the color on. A little bit of blue and black mixed. All right, we're going to have about 8 colors today. Nice colorful painting. Maybe let's stop down about here on our 16 by 20 inch canvas. Kind of all over the place today. 16 by 20 inch canvas. Let's go down maybe like 5 or 6 inches from the bottom is where we'll stop putting our sky color on. And we'll go up here and just crisscross strokes back and forth. You don't have to blend out all the black. You kind of want to have, these differences in color in there. But I think it's okay if we lock our canvas down now. Put the sucker in the middle. Lock it down. I've got this little briefcase easel. Folds up. Perfect. It's like $40 at Michael's. All right, we'll go across side to side. All right, we didn't blend this out very well. So we'll blend this out and blend it and blend it and blend it. Always take the longest time on your sky. Might seem like I'm doing it nice and quick, but I've done hundreds of them, you know what I mean? Take the longest time on your sky. Without a good sky, you won't have a good painting. Even so, let's put a little bit, maybe we'll put some darker, like there's some storm clouds way off in the distance down here. Who knows? We'll kind of figure it out as we go along. Get a bit more blue because it always turns out, you want to make yours, the paint will kind of fade over time. So if you want it really vibrant and colorful, just use more color. But again, take the time to blend it. You don't want to have, you know, big thick paint up on the top of your canvas. It's going to make it hard to put our clouds on, and it just won't look nice and soft, realistic, right? Again, let's do this blind since we can't really see the side, but I know it's there. Okay. Go back and forth, side to side. Shoot, we can even just take the rest of that color off our brush down here. And now it's, you know, we could even go straight into something else. But side to side, like so. Got this lighter area in the middle, right? We're gonna throw some clouds up there. And you want these differences in color, I'm telling you. You don't want your sky to be all the same color. All right, why don't we take our fan brush, we'll go in and make some clouds. Ooh, this one's nice and stiff from the last time we used it. Let's take that in there. And why not? You know what we'll do first? Take a different fan brush. We'll come in and make our shadows first, okay? Let's kind of mix the blue and the black. Who knows, we'll throw a little bit of crimson in there. Just mix them right on the brush, right? And then we'll come up, and let's say, why don't we go down this way? We'll just be like, whee! All you gotta do is make this real messy shape, right? It doesn't really have to look like a cloud. You can't tell me that this won't look like a cloud. There is no special shape for a cloud. And when you paint with Josh, can't see on the thing down there, make a mess, okay? That's what Happy Little Landscapes is all about. We're gonna make a mess. We're gonna show you how to make it look correct, right? I kind of like those purpley little, let's throw a little bit more crimson on there. Yours isn't gonna look the same, so don't worry. You might not mix the exact amount of paint that I'm mixing in there. All I'm trying to do is just kind of show you some techniques about how to make these cool dramatic skies, okay? And we'll take this one, we'll go down. Just remember to leave space in between your clouds, okay? You don't want to have them right on top of each other. You want to have a bit of that sky behind it, right? Just going to very lightly blend them. You don't want to blend them too much or they'll blend all the way away. Then you won't see them anymore. All right, just blend them, blend them, blend them, blend them, just a little bit. You were just disturbing it, right? Disturbed. This paint is disturbed. You can still see we've got our bit of white back there, bit of gray, bit of blue, bit of black, just everywhere. Let's go like that. Now we'll come in with our white, and this is where we're going to shape our clouds. Again, we're not going to cover up all the shadows that we just made, right? So we're going to stay on the edges. Maybe up here, maybe a bit of it comes through here. You never know. Over to the top of this one. And we're just going to stay on the tops of those clouds that we made, right? Don't have to be super thick. You just want these nice, soft, far off clouds. Okay, we're going to go back in. You can do this with your 1-inch brush or your 2-inch brush, whatever you're more comfortable with. Just take the corner of the brush, okay? Just the corner. We're just going to disturb the paint. I'm not going to mix it. I'm not going to blend it all the way out. We're just going to disturb it a little bit. And all we're doing is just making little circles to just disturb what's up there, okay? Now let's take a step back and look at it from this side angle where I'm at. Some of the times the light makes the glare. You guys get to see it nice and clear. And I got this glare I got to deal with, so when we do that, we got some far off ones down here. And who knows, these might be covered. You never know what's going to get covered up by your mountains, so might as well do more than you need. Right? Again, just very lightly blending it. We don't want to overdo it. We don't want to get rid of them. The more you blend it, the more you're going to get rid of it. Okay? That's not what you want to do. This one over here, pissing me off. There we go. Don't want to have any drag marks. Don't want them to be too thick. Right? Just nice, soft, far off clouds. Very lightly back and forth. Nice, soft clouds. Okay? Got a little bit of crimson in here with the blue and the black and the white and the rest of our dark sky back there. It's looking really good. Looking pretty good. Okay, let's take this time to wash our brushes. I use Jasco brush cleaner. It stinks a little bit more than the low odor mineral spirits, but seems to work a little bit better as well. and then I have a old beater bucket with a golf ball basket down the bottom of them. You can take and put a bit of like plumber's pipe or something rigid, you know, through your bucket, and that way you have something to beat the brush on, okay? Once you do that, brushes come out nice and clean, mainly dry, and then I always just dab them on a paper towel just to make sure they're dry. Don't want to have paint thinner when you go back up to, you know, do the rest of your painting. So when you see me dip down like that and I pop back up, it's because I went down and cleaned my brushes. Okay, we'll do the 2-inch brush and then we'll get back to it, baby. Oh, see? Nice and clean. Clean, clean, clean. Always dab it on a paper towel. Want to make sure they're dry. Alright, now we're going to come in, and I've got the small Bob Ross palette knife. You can use the large one, you can use the plastic ones, you can use whatever you want. Whatever's easiest for you is what you should use, okay? The plastic ones is how I learned. I couldn't get these suckers to break like I wanted to, you know, like Bob does. I couldn't get it to work until I got more and more and more practice with it. So if you can't use the metal one, use the plastic one. Works. Initially it worked better for me, so. Let's mix up our mountain color here. A little bit of crimson, a little bit of blue, a little bit of black, right? And let's throw in a chunk of brown as well. And we'll just mix it up just by flattening it out, right? Scrape it up, flatten it all out again, scrape it up over and over and over until it's this nice dark, kind of blackish color. All right, take a little bit of our white. That might be too much. A little bit of our white. Just kind of mix it in there and you'll be able to see what kind of color you're going to have. I got an idea. We might do like a brown highlighted mountain. Instead of a snowy mountain today, we'll make it a different kind of color. And it's not going to be big. The mountain's going to be real far off. We're going to have this road in the front, a couple trees on the side. But we'll see what it looks like. Okay, we're going to take our mountain mixture, get a big thick chunk of it. You can even see I'm trying to show you how thick, you know what I mean? It's not just a little line, it's a big thick chunk. And we'll come over, we're just going to make these rounded kind of Utah style mountains, right? Not very peaky, just these round mounds. They're going to go off. A lot of the stuff on the sides is going to be covered, so don't worry about, you know, what it looks like on the sides, because we're not really going to see it anyway. Rub the rest of that off. Let's take our 1-inch brush. It might be easier for everybody. We're just going to grab our mountain and just kind of pull it out, just like so, kind of mixing it at the bottom. You pull it this way perhaps. All right, just mix it up. And we'll see where to go from here. Off to the side. It'd be nice and soft. Doesn't even have to go all the way over to the edge. You know what I mean? It really doesn't. Like that. Oh, this is looking like home, baby. I'm from Utah, so I love painting these style of mountains. The real peaky mountains kind of get difficult for me. You get these nice rounded mountains. Oh, it's like home, baby. It's like home. Take me back home. All right, we're going to mix them up nice and soft like. We got this fog down the bottom. That's what I love about painting to me, is I get to this point, and even though I have an idea of where I want to go, I'm like, ooh, I could change that. I could do this, or I could do that. And then, you know, you never have to just stay with your idea. You can always switch it up. You can do whatever you want to do. Just trying to show you guys how I do it. You take my technique and just run. Run with it. Make your own. Make your own thing. Who knows? We'll take a... We're just going to grab and just lift up, right? Just on the top of our mountain. Just the smallest bit. And that's going to leave, you know, like these little trees are way off in the distance, okay? Especially in Utah, we got a bunch of foliage all over the mountains. Even all the way to the top. Let's not go all the way to the top, but we'll go pretty close. Leave the top undone. Now we've got these real far off distant trees back there. Looks like we've got 3 mountains. One kind of comes in front of the other. You want to leave these lighter and darker areas That's why when you're blending it, you can start to come up with your mountain, right? If it's lighter here, and you want to take a bit of dark and pull it down, it's almost like you've got 3 humps coming forward. Okay, again, let's do our little foggy motion. The Happy Little Landscapes patented foggy motion, right? Just like so. Blend it down. Now we've got a little bit of color down here, not a lot, still maybe look white to you guys, but trust me, there's a little bit of color down there just from blending it out. And who knows, we'll decide what we're going to do next. Maybe, I mean, shoot, we could do a snow-covered mountain, but I've been doing a lot of snow-covered mountains lately. So let's try something different, right? You can always try something different. Don't just do the same thing over and over again. And don't copy, make it your own. All right, so who knows, let's mix up a little bit of like brown and white, right? We might do that, might use it later if we don't use it right now. In Utah, the mountains are covered with these green kind of bushes everywhere. So let's see what that looks like. Got our black, got our that there. We'll kind of decide let's see, our light's going to come from this side here. So why don't we take and just ever so often just put a couple dark, same color that we made the mountain out of, little shadowy bits down there, right? Like that. Why don't we throw a shadow in behind this guy? And who knows, you can always switch your idea up. You can do whatever you want to do, right? Whatever you guys want. We're literally just making a mess, and then we're going to see what it looks like. All right, let's put a little bit of brown on our white. Pull down. See if we like the look of that. Come down there. I might need to make up some more brown. It's starting to look tasty over here. All right, what's the green look like if we just do a couple little soft green bits in there? Do some green off to the side over here. Mix it in with that black. Make it look nice. We've got this, greenish, brownish, blackish mountain. What we'll do is we'll make some more brown and white. Just a little bit of white, a lot of bit of brown. We'll throw some green in there with it, but we're not going to over mix it, okay? Come down. Get it like so. And like I said, if you don't like the way that it looks, you can always go back and change it. You can scrape it off, you can do whatever you want. It is literally your world. Do whatever you want to do with it. If you're like, Josh, you're freaking crazy that brown and green looks like crap. Okay, it's up to you. Do what you want to do. All right, I'm just showing you. You don't have to use white all the time. You can do whatever you want. Okay? When you throw this black in there, it kind of makes it look like these rocks. Well, it's not even black. It's the same color we made our mountain out of. Kind of looks like these rocks are sticking up through the trees, through the grass. What you need to do is get a bit of our liquid white, right? Throw it down there, a little bit of green. We'll just start mixing it up right on the brush with the liquid white. You can see the more you mix it with the liquid white, the more it's going to change, okay? And who knows, maybe we'll come in, just drop in a couple little bits of foliage, right? Kind of down on an angle. Get that little darker bit of green for the shadowy side. You can just switch it up, change colors, make it whatever you want to make it. Okay? Until you like the way that it looks. Swipe up. All right, make these things look far off in the distance. Again, the mountain is not the focal point of our painting in this one. Okay, we're going to have some other stuff in there. So we're going to make our fog. You know how we make our fog. We don't go in a straight line when we make our fog, guys. No straight line fog around here. bit of white everywhere. Make it look like some far off mist or some clouds or something. Right, come in. Don't want to over mix it. You don't want to lose the bit of dark fog that we made initially, right? You want to have it, you know, you want to have these differences in color. There we go. I like it. It don't look too bad. Again, we're just making it up as we go along, so if you don't like the way that it looks at the end, you don't have to paint this one. You can do whatever you want. Okay, back and forth. Saw me swipe up with our fog, a little bit of mixture. And who knows, that may be a little bit too white. So why don't we take some of that dark color that we had, right? And you just sit here and play, and just mix them. Get a little bit of shadows in your fog, right? Until you like the way that it looks. Right now, I kind of like the way that that looks. So we're going to get our bit of our brush that had the green and the white on it. I'm just going to mix it in with that dark color. Just going to put a tinge of green into our dark for our far off kind of trees. Okay, so why don't we say there's a couple trees that live back here. Just back and forth. All right. Swipe up with them. Kind of mix up the bottom into some more fog. Never know what you're going to do with them. There we go. And again, everything underneath doesn't matter. I mean, you could leave it, you could make more clouds in here. You could have done the snow white. You could do whatever you want to do. It literally doesn't matter what happens underneath until we get down that far, right? So maybe we'll cut this bit out. Maybe we'll leave it in. All right, so we'll take our 1-inch brush, or you can use your oval brush, your filbert brush, whatever you want to do. And we're going to kind of go in with our yellow ochre, maybe a bit of the Indian yellow. And we're just going to kind of mix in this, these old grass, tall grass bits that live way back in there. You can do them in any shape, any height you want. All right, just mix it in back there until we think we're low enough. Do our little circle motion and see what that looks like. Back. Wash them. All we want is just this little bit of color down here, right? It's going to help us bounce everything off. Now, let's make up some more of our dark, like tree mixture. Right? A little bit of black, blue, crimson. Use a little bit of green if you wanted to. We'll go back in here and we'll make some really tall trees that are kind of far. I mean, these are gigantic trees. Why don't we come up here? I like to pull down like that just to give me a little tree trunk. Again, every time I load my brush, I'm kind of wiggling on the way down, right? Getting it really thick and loaded full. And then we'll come up with just a corner of the brush and touch, right? The more we get down, the more we start to rotate our hand like this, right? And that just makes our branches look like they're turned upways versus sagging down. You want it thick. You want it to stick to the canvas. You want to have it like, your brush will be stuck to the canvas as you pull it away. And that gives you these real thick, textured areas where our highlight will stick to. Okay, why don't we do, let's say we'll do a far off one, just a little guy. Maybe he lives back here, just in front of these other trees. All right, again, we're pushing up. He's going to be sort of thin, like so. And you have another one back there. This little, and they might get covered. You never know. They could turn into something bigger. Like that. And then we'll take our, we might even need to make some more. Do the rest. We'll do another big one here. And just from the side, remember, corner of the brush. That's how we get it so thin up here, because we're only using the corner. We're coming into the camera like this and just pushing in with the corner. Not straight, right? Not going straight on, just using the corner. And the further we go down, the more we kind of expand outward, right? So we're going to come down again. You want to make it real thick. And that way the brush, sticks to the canvas. So when you're looking at it down the side, you've got these textured bits of paint, okay? That's how thick you want these suckers to be. The further we get down to the bottom, obviously, the bigger the tree is going to get, right? You still want it to be nice and textured, so remember, use a lot of paint. Go back in and get more and get more. You want it to be real thick. Like I said, we may not even use all of this bit of tree down here. All of our light's coming this way, so again, we're going to pull to the side. Right? Seems like this guy lives on a little hill up here. Pull it to the side. And again, we're not done down here, so don't worry about what it looks like. But the more you pull to the side, the more it's going to look like a shadow that's casted from those trees, right? And there's more trees over here. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't very much matter. And take our palette knife, make these real sharp tops to our trees, right? And all it's doing is just grabbing the paint that's already on there and kind of moving it about. Making it nice and pointy. Come in here with our brown and white, and we'll make the trunks to our bigger trees, right? Again, just kind of slightly pulling over to the side. Doesn't really have to be in a straight line. It's hard to do on an angle, put it in a straight line. And these can be nice and thick and textured as well. And that way, again, when you look down the canvas from the side, as people come up to it and they're looking at it, they're like, oh, it makes them want to come around to the front and see what the heck's going on. Bigger and bigger as we go down. Like that. Kind of like it. This guy's kind of looking like he's starting to grow up this way. Okay, now, like I said, we might lose this, but we'll just put it in there to begin with. And why don't we do just a bit of road, okay? So our road, gonna come in on the side. You want it to be further away. The further you go, maybe it goes around the edge over there. Maybe we can make that tree a bit taller. As he comes down. It may come off the side like this. You never know. Never know. And again, I'm using the same color to make the road as I made the base of the trees with, right? And then you can kind of come back in and just make it until, kind of mix it until it looks like road color. Again, we want the road to be wider at the bottom, smaller in the distance, right? So you just sit and play with it until your perspective looks good. Like so. Don't look too bad. Like that. And again, you just keep mixing this blue and black together until it turns into asphalt. We've all seen what asphalt looks like. So until you get that color, you just keep mixing it and mixing it and mixing it and mixing it. All right, now we've got this road that kind of goes off, maybe turns around that tree, and put some big bushes in the front. We got some bushes along the side, and then we'll figure it out. All right, let's get a little bit of paint thinner into our little mixture over here. Same road mountain mixture that we've been using, right, on our little liner brush. Why don't we go back, and every so often we'll just put a bit of tree or something back here, and then we can change the color that it was. Again, you want the paint thinner on there so it can be nice and thin. That way you can make these long kind of tree trunk shapes, right, without having to push too hard with your brush. Take our Bob Ross oval brush, right, the 1-inch oval brush. Maybe put a little bit of tops of our trees back here. All it's doing is just changing the, giving us different colors to bounce off of, right? That's all you really got to do. You want to have this difference in color. Maybe we can take and make our bottom of our trees a little foggy back there. If they're off in the distance. All right, come back in with our road. Just kind of fix that shape as he goes back along. Turning off that way. Comes down over here. You never know. Whatever you want yours to look like. All right, now it's like we're going to come down this big long hill. And again, we could have done all this stuff before. But when you make it up as you go along, sometimes you got to go back in and add stuff when you knew you should have done it beforehand. Let me make our little bushy guy back here. Nice and thick. Remember, you want it textured. You want that bit of texture there. Pull him off this way. Again, you can always come back in this oil paint and fix. You can always adjust it. You can always fix it. And you can come back in. You can even add like little bits of grass down in here. Cover up those areas, right? And always do something. Again, even if you come over, say you came over your road, just come back in, mix it back out. So you like the way that your road looks. All right, go back this way. Again, we're going to cover the sides over here, so don't worry about it too much. Get a good amount of our liquid white in with our sap green. Why don't we go put some highlights on these trees, just very lightly on the ones in the back, right? You wouldn't really be able to see them that well if we're focusing on these ones up here. And then we'll come in from the top. Just start bouncing down our shadows. Again, leave some shadow of the tree in there. You gotta have dark in order to have light. So leave the tree shadows in there. And this is why you want that paint to be thick, because then your very light paint is going to fill in all those little gaps and stuff where we had our, where the textured paint was, right? Back in, a little bit of green, a little bit of white. Come over here on this guy, same kind of angle. We're not pushing as hard as we did to make the tree. All right, we don't want to do that. That's going to smash all those little cool textured areas that we made the initial time by making the paint so thick. All right, and you just add wherever you want to add. Do whatever you want to do. Wash these brushes off here. Alright, now we still got some of our old tree mixture down here, right? Still got some of our liquid white over here. You can always go back and get more. You guys can hit the pause button, go back, get some more, and we'll see if we can't keep going here. I want to have a little bit of liquid white in with our yellow ochre down here, and we're just going to change up the color of this little, the highlights on this little bush over here, right? Just a little. You want to have a lot of the shadow in there. You don't want to have too much of your highlight color. You can go ahead and pop in some yellow grass with this green grass back here. And just change the color just a little. You never know what someone's going to be looking at. You know, they'll find these cool little differences in your painting. All right, come down again. Now we got to figure out something for this bottom corner over here. So what we can do is just take this tree that we had made, right? And we can just make some fog out of this over here. And we can put a big bush right in the front. Oh, I want some smaller bushes off the side of the highway over here. Maybe clean our brush off with that. Go back into our yellow ochre with the, shit, we need to use the Indian yellow too. Nice and thick and globby, right? Just a little bit. You don't want to overdo, you don't want to cover your shadows, right? Just a little bit. Wash that sucker off again. Now we can make a bigger bush that's in the front that'll kind of cover over that. So, we've got all this extra paint, let's do it. Nice big, thick, globby bush. I like to say globby, textured. You know, big, thick bush that you'll be able to see from the side of your canvas. You're looking down this way. You've got a lot of texture in this painting here. So we'll take that same mixture that we made all of our trees with, all of our, you know, our road shadow trees, these forests back here. It's all the same blue, black, and crimson mixed, right? And then who knows? We'll come up in here. Maybe make this giant globbed out tree, little bush here. Okay. That's why you want to put the fog in between. It looks like there, you know, there's something back there. Let's go like that. Bam, bam. Clean that brush off. Try not to throw our paint thinner all over the place like we did in our last video. Luckily, the cup was mostly empty. It would have been a big mess. Bigger mess, anyway. Alright, we'll take that same fan brush that we just used, right? Let's use some of this green, whitish mixture that we have, but we're not going to do the whole bush in just this one color, okay? Why don't we just touch every so often? Maybe a couple, just wherever, right? Not a lot. And then we're going to come back that liquid white into our yellow ochre. I love this yellow ochre color. When it mixes with the liquid white, it gives you this kind of dead bush look. And come back in, maybe go over the top of our white and green a bit. Again, you don't want to cover up all your shadows. Leave some of that black to kind of shine through there, right? Doesn't make sense, black shining through, but that's what I'm telling you. Say we ran out of green, so we'll just make our own. Little blue and yellow, right? In just wherever you want to put it. And then you have this multicolored little bush down in the front that's our, you know, just kind of close to where our focal point is going to be. You cover up all your shadows. What was the point of even putting them down in the first place? There's going to be no depth to your bush. take this guy, just come down our little roadway here. Turn around, you can see it's real thin back here, real thick. That gives it the idea that we're, going away. Put some of our paint thinner right into whatever's left on your brown there. And you can come back in and make a little stick come up, whatever you want. I have a little bit of trunk coming out through this sucker to hold up all these branches. You can do that. Just don't overdo it. People that'll look at your painting for the details will see little things that we did like that. Right? They'll see this little bit of branch. They're like, oh yeah. Same thing with our tree trunks, right? You might not be able to see all of it, but you want to see something to your eye. It helps you imagine something holding up that big trunk of that big tree back there. Okay, now one thing our road is missing is our yellow lines, right? So what we're going to do there is figure it out as we go along. That got a massive bristle to come out, chock full of paint. So we're going to take our Indian yellow with the liquid white and our yellow ochre, and just kind of mix them all up together. Nice sloppy, runny bit of paint right here. Now we'll come in with our liner brush, right? Got it nice and full, right? Chunky. And I always use a yardstick to that way you don't have to float your hand. You don't want to press your hand against the painting. You can use a yardstick like this and just kind of rest it, on the bits of your palette, or your easel, on the bits of your easel that it's holding up. So we can go like that. Let me say there's one maybe back here, just small. You can take it like that. And the more we get to the more closer that we get to us, the thicker the line is going to be, right? Back here it's going to be real thin, heading off into the distance. And down here it's going to get thicker, because obviously it's getting closer to us, it's going to get thicker, right? Let's adjust our canvas a little bit so we can reach the entire bottom, like so. Don't want to push too hard on that sucker now, it'll fall out. Just like that. This is why you want the liquid white with this yellow, so it'll flow easily over this thick oil paint, right? Down. You want to make it as straight as you can possibly make it. Like that. Go up in here, kind of fill it in. Goes off the side. The more you mess with it, the more it's going to pull the liquid white off, and it's going to start mixing with that dark underneath. So don't mess with it too much. Bam, 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 like so. You can always go back in with more liquid white and brighten it if you wanted, if it's not bright enough for you. Remember, if we're going to be brightening it, the closer we get to the bottom, the more bright it has to be. Right? The further away, the more faded or dull it has to be. And this thing just keeps trying to grow on you. There we go. Fill in this section again. The more you go over it, the more it's going to pull the paint back onto your brush and off of the canvas, because it's such a thin paint. Okay, that's why you mix it down with your liquid white. And then what we'll do is, let's say we're coming up on this blind curve, right? So you're not going to want to pass. So we'll have these no pass lines coming up on the side. Again, the closer they get to us, the thicker they're going to get. So, this little guy. He's going to want to be a little thick. This guy wants to be a little thicker. Alright, same thing with our line. The further away you go, the thinner it's going to get. Shoot, we can put one over here, just real thin, real small. Just like that, guys, you can paint a road. A couple minutes. It took us to paint this road. I'm just kind of doing is trying to get the perspective right here. These things can be a pain in the butt. There we go. Now it looks like we're driving off. We're going to go down this big hill. We're coming up and then we're going to go turn down into the canyon, right? So over here we can just finish along the bottom. Like that. Finish on this side of the bottom. And bam! We got a completed painting. Took us a couple minutes. Kind of showed you how you get this road technique. And you can add all sorts of different details in your road. You know, all sorts of stuff. A lot of times in Utah there's a bit of dirt along the side of the road. That. Got this bit of area. So however the roads want, you know, however you want them to look. That's how you do them. Doesn't have to look just like mine. I want to make them look like yours. There you go. Bam. If you wanted to do a winter scene, you could, you know, truck snow and take it across your road, or make little tire tracks and stuff like that. Totally up to you. You could even do that, like there's a tire mark. You get these people are driving, you get this stop like they're coming up too fast. Oh no! Hit the brakes! Or you can make them nice and soft, and it'll just look like wear marks. You know what I mean? Again, totally up to you. Whatever you want to do. But at least there's a little bit of difference in color in there. And then, who knows, we'll take maybe a bit more of that brown, come off this side of the road just a bit. Probably should have done it beforehand, but it's all good. All good. Right, just give it a little bit of difference in color. That's all you really want, is a difference in color. Okay, we've got our far off little forest back there, a couple big trees. I think it looks really nice. A little bit of grass on the edge of our road back there. You can even take them. Just a difference in color, guys. That's all you're really looking for. Okay, have that come along. And again, if you go over your road, it's no big whoop. Just come back in, very small, very light. Take it back out. Use a smaller brush if you wanted to. Alright, just like that. Fix our little line there. I kind of like these tire marks, like there's a somebody was about to, they didn't realize the road was about to turn. So they came up and made a little screech. And again, you just work at it until you like the way that it looks. Right? Again, we're just making this up as we go along, so work at it till you like the way that it looks, and you know, the techniques are there. Use them. Besides that, I think we're going to call this one finished, you guys. So, if you painted with me, you know that I add my little family flock, you could call it, somewhere in the painting. So why don't we have our little family of birds flying over here. So me, my wife, my daughter. In every single painting. Mostly everything. Now you can sign wherever you like. I like to try to find a dark spot for me to sign. I use a liquid white, and that way it kind of stands out away from the rest of the colors and just makes it real bright. So we'll put it down here today. Gotta make those funny noises or it doesn't work. Gotta do the noises. It just doesn't work. There we go. That sucker. And then I'll go clean off my brushes. I'm not going to make you guys watch all of that. So, this painting will be available on Etsy. If you want to buy it or send it to a family member or a friend, you can go to etsy.com/shop/happylandscapeart. You can always go to facebook.com/happylandscapeart, which will take you to my Happy Little Landscapes Facebook page, and find me on Instagram at Happy Little Landscapes. Besides that, you know, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you on the next painting. Oh, you're here again? To my Happy Little Landscapes Facebook Etsy page. Let's get ready to go just like this. /Happy Landscape Art, which would Facebook.com. Just erase all this.